This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is Trivia Thursday here on the After Party Live. Thank you for hanging out and joining in. I am super excited to report 2,065 subscribers to this show, and we're still growing. Thank you so much to everyone who helps in that regard and who helps finance the show as well. Crowdfunded, find the PayPal link and on the show description. So I hate to have to say it, but that's the way it is. So thank you so much. And already today, Wes has kicked in $5. So huge thank you. All right, let's get into it because I know we got a late start. But here we are. And the first thing I was hoping to talk about was this Tesla police Cybertruck. Yeah, here it is. Take a look at it. This is what it would look like. So far, there aren't any out there rolling on the streets, but if there were, this is what we would be looking at. A Cybertruck police vehicle. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think of it? This company does this. They take a vehicle and then they outfit it to make it into a police-worthy vehicle. It's California-based Upfit is the name of the company, Upfit. And they deck out these Teslas for fleet use. So already we've seen this year, the Anaheim Police Department purchased 6 Teslas, 6 patrol vehicle Teslas. I don't know how it's going for them, but they've got them in the fleet now. So this Cybertruck here's what they say. It's the world's first Cybertruck police vehicle that can be customized for tactical, military, or search and rescue missions. The whole interior of this thing can be redesigned to support more crime-busting gear, including weapons, specialty tool storage, prisoner partitions, canine enclosures. It comes with optional upgrades for extreme off-road usage as well. The company, Upfit, says they already have received interest from police departments and other agencies for this Cybertruck police cruiser. I will say something about the Cybertruck. It does have an intimidating look to it. You know, it's kind of futuristic in this whole RoboCop kind of way. And you look at it, it's big, it's hulking, it's menacing. I don't know how fast they go in a police chase kind of situation. Upfit, the company that decks out these Cybertrucks and other vehicles for police use, say the shipments could start as late as in late 2024, so sometime this year. But this is what it would look like. I don't know. What do you think? What would you have to say about? I would imagine they're incredibly expensive. So I don't know. Heather says, yeah, they're so ridiculous, even more so in person. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. Sandy sees them all the time in San Jose and laughs out loud every time. Judy wants to know what happens if it runs out of power during a suspect pursuit. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Walter doesn't want it called a truck. No. Deidre thinks the Cybertruck is ugly. Saw one at the Oakland, Maine post office last week. A bunch of guys were standing around admiring it. It's interesting. I think that's why, maybe people surround it or stop. Did you hear about this game? There's some type of online game where you lose if you see a Cybertruck. So the minute you see one in person, you've lost the game. I've seen more than one. I mean, we live in the Bay Area. Of course, we've seen them around, right? I don't know. I mean, they're really expensive. And I don't know if they're police worthy. I mean, they rust when it rains. I don't think they're as heavy duty and hardy as made out to be. I don't know. It needs a big front bumper. Needs something. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I just found that kind of interesting. All right, let's talk about, speaking of cars and automated vehicles, Waymo. Does this maybe tell us a little something? Waymo is recalling these driverless cars to make them less likely to drive into poles. You heard it right. Apparently, they have a propensity for polls? I don't know. They've got 672 of these driverless cars. They recalled them after an accident in Phoenix, Arizona, where a Waymo driverless car nailed a telephone pole that was installed in the roadway in an alley. The Waymo vehicle was pulling over to pick up a passenger when it smacked into the pole at a very low speed. The car was severely damaged. Nobody was hurt in this incident. They did this time file with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration the report of what happened here. The recall applies to their fleet of modified Jaguar I-Pace SUVs that they own and they operate themselves. They say we've already deployed mapping and software updates across our entire fleet. This does not impact current operations, but they describe this issue as insufficient ability to avoid the pole or a pole-like permanent object within the drivable surface, which may result in an increased risk of collision. Now, I thought they had little cameras everywhere. And so if there was debris on the road or some type of impediment or obstruction in the path of one of these cars, the car would easily be able to see it and stop. In the case of the accident in San Francisco, where the woman was thrown by a car with a person behind the wheel and the woman landed right in front of the driverless car, it might, I mean, who knows? Even if a person had been driving, there may not have been enough time to stop. Now, dragging the woman, that's a whole other situation. But in this case, the phone pole, while it might have been on a drivable surface or maybe sticking out into the roadway, I mean, why wouldn't the camera have picked that up? I don't know. I guess what they say is it became an issue in circumstances where there wasn't a curb or a clear road shoulder, like this alleyway, where the road surface reaches from the buildings on one side to the buildings on the other. There's no sidewalk, there's no curb. There were poles installed within that roadway. So in this case, the vehicle might not have recognized the actual degree of a hazard that the pole represented. So they're now updating their software for these driverless vehicles to make them more likely to avoid things that appear to be poles in the road, and by improving their maps to better define the edges of roads, even where they might not be so clear. And that seems like something they should have done earlier, right? Because what we had is this whole testing period. How many alleys are in San Francisco where there are not clearly defined sidewalks? So it would seem like this issue would have already come up during the testing phase, before they had human passengers in the back seat or people on the side of the alley waiting to be picked up. I don't know. I think they kind of tried to pass the testing phase a little bit too quickly here. And I get that there's going to be things that they hadn't thought of or situations that arise that you couldn't have imagined, because that's the nature of life. But alleyways not having sidewalks, that one seems all right. Anyway, they're recalling the Jaguars to add this in to the software. So, good job, Waymo. To animals now. Check out this guy. Yeah, he is the world's tallest dog. How cool is this? He's a Great Dane, and he's been named the world's tallest dog. But he apparently, regardless of size, is still terrified of the vacuum cleaner at the house. They call him a gentle giant, and they have other pets at this house, and they say he coexists with them beautifully, manages to stay trim, even though he eats a heck of a lot of food. His name is Kevin, after the Macaulay Culkin character from Home Alone, and Guinness World Records has named him officially the tallest dog. He's 3 feet 2 inches from his feet to his withers, which is the area to the back of his shoulder blades. But he's about 7 feet tall when he's standing on his hind legs. He is a big one. If that dog wanted to do you harm, he could definitely do you harm. So it's good that he's gentle. He's a 3-year-old dog who lives in West Des Moines, Iowa, with 3 other dogs, one of them a pug. There's 4 cats in the house as well. And they say he really is the epitome of a gentle giant. He loves hogging the sofa. Can you imagine? There'd be no room for anyone else. He likes to crouch and crawl near the other dogs to make himself less intimidating. What a sweetheart. And again, he's terrified of the vacuum cleaner. He won't come within 6 feet of it. He'll jump and run to get away from it, according to the owners. He gets a lot of comments when they're out and about. People want to know, is that a horse? He's a pretty big pup. But he has now a Guinness World Record on his under his belt. Can we talk about these camels on the run? This happened. I'm going to get the video up for you guys. This happened at a zoo in Ohio, the Cedar Point amusement park, and they have this petting zoo. And at the petting zoo, there are camels. And they, I guess, wanted to have a little adventure, the camels. And so they broke free. And here's what it looks like when the camels at the Cedar Point Zoo decided to go on the run. There were people yelling, upset. They were saying, hey, he's coming right at us. There were people trying to get out of the way. Yeah. I mean, hey, they're still in the zoo. What do you expect? There's animals. But yeah, they went on the run. They were just having a little adventure.
Oh, God. How did they get out?
Yeah. How did they get out?
Imagine how surprised we were to see 2 giant camels running us at full speed.
Yeah. Our thanks to ABC5 in Cleveland. Yeah, the camels, they broke out and they went on the run. Now, they never left the amusement park grounds, but there was some chaos, as you saw there. The park goers were taking videos as the camels were running around. Their names are Samson and Artle, and they busted out of the barnyard petting zoo at Cedar Point, and they ran through the crowd of spectators. They were coming straight at you. The next thing we were worried about was just getting out of the way. We picked up my sister and put her over the railing, and me and my dad just followed suit, said one boy. The folks say the camels seemed really freaked out and they didn't know what they were doing or where they were going. Some visitors actually took shelter with some of the other animals at the zoo. People were just diving out of the way. The little unplanned stroll at the zoo was pretty quick. They made it pretty far through the park, though. Nobody was hurt. Camels are fine, and they're okay. Of course, PETA has something to say. They say no one should be surprised that distressed camels panicked and ran away, hoping to escape a near constant chaotic barrage of excessive handling, noisy roller coasters, and screaming park goers. I mean, I can't say that I disagree, right? That would have to be stressful for an animal. I'd love to talk to you for a moment about AI and what AI can do when it comes to helping animals. Sometimes we think AI immediately creepy, right? Well, in this particular instance, AI can now detect if cats are in pain by scanning their little kitty cat faces. This app has been trained to detect pain in cats' faces by scanning thousands of pictures of felines. The developers of this artificial intelligence app say it's more than 95% accurate. And I think this is something that you would miss, whether you have a dog or a cat, whatever kind of animal. You know, it's hard to detect sometimes whether they're in pain or when something is wrong. And so in this case, maybe AI is worth looking at. This app is built by vets and developers in Japan. They trained it by taking a look at 6,000 pictures of cats. The head of the Animal Medical Center at Nihon University worked on the app. He said vets like him can tell to a certain degree whether an animal is in pain or not, but it's harder for the owners or the keepers of these animals. More than 70% of elderly cats have arthritis or pain. Only 2% of them actually go to the hospital, according to this professor at Amura. So rather than a final diagnosis, we use the app as a tool to make the owners aware of whether the situation is normal or not. And since they launched this cat AI app last year in Japan, more than 230,000 people have used it. And some people use it every day. They take a scan of their cat's face every day just to see if things are okay and how things are going. It, in some cases, reduces the number of vet trips because people who might be concerned use the app and say, oh, looks like everything's fine here. He's not in pain. So what you thought was the case wasn't really. The folks in Japan say they have almost 16 million cats in the country, and dogs as well. And that's more than the number of children. So there are 16 million cats and dogs in Japan, 15 million children. A lot of people. The app, by the way, is called Catsme, CATSME exclamation point, Catsme. And again, it was developed at Nihon University. So kind of an interesting way that AI helps us help our animals. Ready for the lotto of the day? Here it is. This woman in Maryland, she was making a mistake. This is a man, rather, making a mistake while buying a Keno ticket. Yeah, it's an error. He's from Baltimore, and he said he was at North Point Liquor and Bar when he decided to buy a 10-spot Keno ticket for 10 games. And he ended up shocked when the bartender told him the price of adding the bonus option. She said, "This is $40. Do you want to keep it?" I said, "Go ahead. I always keep my mistake tickets." And the man's numbers started to appear during the fourth draw. I said to myself, oh my goodness, I just got 9 out of 10. So the man scans his ticket and discovers that by buying this bonus option, which he was upset about because it just jacked up the price of the ticket, it got him a big win. He won $32,000 because of a mistake that he made at the counter. He said he's going to put it in his bank account for safekeeping. But when he won, he said he had to do a double take. Can you imagine a mistaken ticket? I always think that if they make a mistake, if I have asked for, and I don't play that often, just when the jackpot gets really, really big. If I ask for a Powerball and then they mistakenly sell me like a super lotto, I always buy that one too, because I don't want a chance that could have been the winning ticket. You never know. Now this is going to sound really dirty, okay? But it isn't. I'd like to talk to you about a meat pole. Go ahead. I'll give you a minute for your mind to go in the gutter, and then I'll show you this picture of the meat pole. It's actually meat and cheese, if I'm being honest. But this is a meat pole that is part of a festival. And you know, a lot of people like to go to summer festivals and cities and things. This happened in Philadelphia. It's this festival that ended about a month ago. It's the annual Italian Market Festival. And part of the tradition is hanging meats and cheeses, having them dangle from these poles like this. And they grease up the pole for visitors to attempt to climb and claim these meat and cheese prizes. This year, the dangling meat and cheeses were left unclaimed. So they've been there for about a month. This now old meat and old cheese dangling from a greased up pole. Organizers say they brought in a crane on the last day of this festival to remove leftover prizes, but bad weather led to a surge of visitors late in the day, and so they didn't remove things as they had planned to. And so the sacks of meat and cheese have been hanging off of this pole for about a month in hot and humid temperatures. And visitors say they haven't smelled anything yet. It's pretty high up. But the festival organizers say they're now working on plans to get another crane to come out and remove the meats and cheeses. But because this whole area is really crowded, it can be a little difficult. So there you go. The meat pole in Philadelphia. You see, it wasn't as dirty as we thought. They are doing something. I have a couple International Space Station stories for you. This is where we go to the space section of the program. They have something interesting in the works. Better space weather forecasting. And why would they care about the weather in space? Well, they think it might protect the future of astronauts on the moon. The astronauts could, from the US, could go back to the moon by 2026. And then they think establish a long-term presence there by the 2030s. Can you imagine people living on the moon? But it's not exactly habitable. Cosmic rays from distant stars and galaxies and solar energetic particles from the sun are a problem on the surface of the moon, and the exposure to these particles can affect human health. And so they think that if they were better able to forecast when these things were going to happen, that people would be able to take shelter, that it would be better for humans that were or are on the moon. So these galactic cosmic rays and solar energetic particles are high energy particles that travel close to the speed of light. And what scientists say is when galactic cosmic radiation heads toward the moon in a steady stream, these energetic particles can come from the sun in big bursts, and they can penetrate human flesh, and they can increase the risk of cancer. So their Earth has this magnetic field that acts as a shield against these type of particles from space. The moon doesn't have that. And so that's why its surface is vulnerable to this type of thing. If this happens, the radiation dosage an astronaut receives inside of a spacesuit could exceed 1,000 times the dosage someone on Earth receives. And that would mean that an astronaut's recommended lifetime limit would be exceeded by 10 times. So what they're trying to do is figure out the solar cycles and the weather on the lunar surface. And if they're able to better forecast solar events, then they're able to better protect astronauts on the moon. So that is in the works. I thought that was pretty interesting. And also, we talked about this, kind of an update on this story. Remember, I think it was yesterday or the day before, we talked about how there was an International Space Station spacewalk that was going to happen, and they're going to collect micro bacteria or organisms from the side of the lab in space. This whole thing was set to be televised on YouTube and on the NASA website. Well, the spacewalk has been scrubbed. And that's because the spacesuits were not comfortable. Something happened with one of the spacesuits. So they had put the spacesuits on, and they were ready to step out of the ISS, these two astronauts, when they decided to call off the launch. NASA didn't say which astronaut had an issue with the spacesuit or what caused the discomfort, but it was enough that they killed the launch they killed the spacewalk, because would have been, they were going to be out there for 6 to 8 hours. So they said no. So they were going to scrape off these microorganisms from the outside of the International Space Station in an attempt to study the possible origins of life. And now they're going to try to fix the spacesuit. No schedule yet for when they'll do that. But speaking of the International Space Station, I thought this is kind of an interesting story as well. There it is. It's kind of cool looking. As I just mentioned, they have this YouTube channel, and they have the website where you can go to a stream of what's happening on the International Space Station. Well, they do these kind of simulations, right? What happens if let's run a drill. They accidentally broadcast the simulation of an astronaut in distress, and people that heard it thought, oh God, something's wrong up there. The audio was inadvertently broadcast on NASA's live YouTube channel, and it had a female voice instructing crew members to get the commander back in his suit, check his pulse, and provide him with oxygen. And people that heard it were afraid that there was some type of big emergency on the International Space Station. And NASA did not mean to air this. This was a medical drill. It was meant for training, simulation of an astronaut being treated for decompression sickness. But because they broadcast it, people kind of freaked out. And so this spread like wildfire on social media that there might be some type of real emergency on the International Space Station. There wasn't. But people were saying there's some odd, disturbing video just aired on the ISS YouTube post. Something's not right. NASA confirms no emergency situation aboard the space station. The audio was inadvertently broadcast from a simulation where crew members and ground teams train together for various scenarios in space. And I'm glad they do, because anything could go wrong at any time. So it's good to be prepared. But yeah, false alarm. Everything's okay. Apparently the crew members were in their sleep period at the time. The drill was happening on the ground when it inadvertently aired. So nothing to see here. Move along. It's all right. You've heard about, I hope you've heard about at this point, you've heard about maternity wards closing in small communities, a lack of doctors in these rural communities. And now the Health and Human Services Department, headed by Javier Becerra, who you see here, is taking some steps. They're creating a rural medical residency program, and they're kicking in $11 million for this. They are giving it to 15 organizations to create medical residency programs in these rural communities across America where finding healthcare is a real problem. Now, I don't know if having medical residency programs, when a resident, terms out of the program, becomes a doctor, that, instead of a resident becomes they're all real doctors, but, is done with residency, graduates from the program. I don't know if they're going to stay in these rural areas, especially in red states, and especially if they're OBGYNs who then fall victim to these draconian rules where their livelihoods could be put at risk if they try to provide care to their patients. So that's something they have to address. But it's good, at least during residency, to get some of these doctors to places where people need them. The White House said one program will create the country's first obstetrics and gynecology rural track program. 6 others will develop new family medicine residence programs with enhanced obstetrical training in rural communities. And they need it. They really, really need it. The hands-on experience in their chosen practice, really, really important. So I'm so glad. Javier Becerra, who's the Secretary of Health and Human Services now, says every American should have access to high-quality health care no matter where they live, which is why the HHS is investing in programs that improve and expand access in geographic areas that have been historically underserved. He said training more doctors in our country's rural areas is a proven strategy to recruit and retain doctors to serve in these rural communities. So it's a good thing somebody's doing something. That's that. There are 2 things that you would think would be unrelated, but scientists have made a connection between women who have babies with low birth weight and a higher risk of dementia for these women later on. What does one thing have to do with the other? Doesn't that seem weird? Well, they say women who deliver low birth weight babies could be more likely to have memory and thinking problems later in life. That as seniors, these women had brain test scores that indicated 1 to 2 years of additional aging in their memory and thinking skills compared with women who delivered normal weight babies. The findings of this study published this week in the journal Neurology, done by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health in Boston. And the studies show the more low birth weight babies a woman had, the lower her test scores were. So we all apply this to ourselves, right? All of women in the crowd that have had babies are thinking right now, how much did he weigh? What happened there? Julia was almost 9 pounds, and she was late. Jacob was born a month and a half early, and even though he came early, he was still almost 5 pounds. They said we might be in the neonatal intensive care unit for a month and a half, and he was released in under a week. So I got so lucky with that. But he still was early, and underweight. So does that mean I'm going to have a problem with my thought process later on? I don't know. The study found that a history of having a child with low birth weight may also be a marker for poor cognition later in life. They took a look at more than 15,000 women with an average age of 62. About 8% delivered a baby with low birth weight, defined as less than 5.5 pounds, for pregnancies lasting more than 20 weeks. The women complained of a series of thinking and memory tests. They completed, rather, a series of thinking and memory tests, and they also filled out a questionnaire about their pregnancy history. On average, women who had babies with low birth weight scored lower in tests of thinking speed, attention, learning, and working memory. Was like pregnancy brain never left? I don't know. The difference was comparable to that of 1 or 2 additional years of age, even after researchers adjusted for other brain health risk factors like age, smoking, and high blood pressure. Why? They don't know. Of course, they say now future research is needed to confirm the findings and look at whether screening women with a history of low birth weight, deliveries for cognitive issues, and taking steps to promote their brain health could help prevent or delay cognitive impairment and dementia later on. There are other things about this study if you're interested in taking a look. Again, it's out of the Harvard Medical School, and it's published in the journal Neurology. Last story is a fun story, kind of fun. Hulk Hogan has put forth this new beverage upon America. It's called Real American Beer. There he is on the top in his wrestling suit with the American flag flapping behind him. He says, Hulk Hogan, that he has brought this new beer out to bring America together. He's now in the beer business. He said, we're bringing America together one beer at a time with Real American Beer. Hulk Hogan says this beer is coming soon to a city near you. So it's this brew described as an American-made, easy-drinking light lager brewed with 100% North American ingredients, and it contains 4.2% alcohol. They're going to put this out to 17 states this summer. They're going to launch it at Albertsons, Safeway, Sam's Club, Total Wine, Walmart. Going to be everywhere. Restaurants as well. Hard Rock Hotel and casinos. They're going to have it at Hooters. They're going to sell it at military bases. Here it comes. The only states they've revealed so far: Florida, Minnesota, Missouri, and Colorado. The other 13 states they will announce between July and August. Not sure if California is on the list or not. The beer is set to be launched in Hulk Hogan's home state of Minnesota June 17th, Missouri June 20th, Colorado June 24th, and they're having a series of big events in those states for the launch. The Hard Rock International chairman is teaming up with Hulk Hogan for this Real American Beer. Did they think of it because of what happened with Bud Light and the politics of supporting someone who's trans? Is that what this is about? Is that why they thought about this? Is this like the political beer for real Americans? Is that what this is? I don't know. He's not the only former WWE superstar or WWF or whatever it is that has taken a step into the beverage business. They had Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. They partnered with a brewing company for Broken Skull beer. The Rock did a tequila, small batch handcrafted tequila made in Mexico. So, I mean, he's not alone in this, but the Real American Beer with the flag and all that, I don't know. I guess we'll see this summer how it tastes. Drink up or not. Let's do it. You guys ready for it? It is Trivia Thursday. Woohoo! I have a bunch of different categories I'm excited to announce. And Viewfinder says that should say premium, so you know it's not that good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maud says, stone cold here, mama, recovery difficult. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. But I'm glad you made the choice, so that's awesome. Mindy says, I'll drink it. It's hot on the 4th of July. Well, real American beer. Here it comes. Okay. Trivia Thursday. Woohoo! I have a bunch of different categories, and they are... We didn't have that when I was your age. Games people play. There's another one I liked. At the science fair, and that's my invention. All right? Those are the 4 categories. The first one is at the science fair. As opposed to invertebrates, vertebrate animals have what? That seems a little easy, but you know, we'll start it with that, right? They have a what? Spiny back, spine. Spine would be correct. Spine, yeah. They have a spine or a backbone. That's exactly right. When the moon is in its new moon phase, what do we see? When the moon is in its new moon phase, what do we see? Yes, that's correct. We see nothing. Nothing is right. When the moon is in the new moon phase, we see nothing. It's darkened. That's right. And I'm guessing that Heather's probably right, but we see nothing. We see just darkness. That's right. The next one. Good job, you guys. Insects go through a series of changes as they mature, from egg to larva to chrysalis to adult. What's that called? That whole maturing process called? Insects, when they go through their life cycle process, what is it called? Yes, JT, it is indeed called metamorphosis. Nice. Oops, sorry. I'm using a CD to try to keep my place in this trivia book. The 3 main types of teeth in humans are incisors, canines, and what? Incisors, canines, and what else? Molars. That's right. That's right. It looks like you guys got it. Well done. Looking for the first one. Knit one, purl one said molars. Sandy said molars. William, Walter, S.J. Lola. Nice. Okay. You guys are smart. Which are smaller, bacteria or virus? Bacteria or viruses? Which are smaller? You know? Which are smaller, bacteria or viruses? A lot of virus. Virus, 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 virus. Sandy says bacteria. Virus. A bacteria. A virus, a virus. Okay, the answer would be viruses are smaller than bacteria. Who knew? Apparently most of you guys. Would you feel heavier on the Earth or the moon, or would you feel equally heavier on both? Would you feel heavier on the Earth or the moon, or would you feel equally heavier on both? Earth, Earth. You guys are right. The answer is this. You'd feel heavier on the Earth, which is larger, so the force of gravity is stronger. Next one. Is the claw of a claw hammer a lever, a wedge, or an inclined plane? Is the claw of a claw hammer a lever, a wedge, or an inclined plane? A lever from Karen, a wedge from Deidre, a lever from Knit One, a lever from Linda. The consensus here seems to say lever. The answer, my friends, is lever. Apparently the claw provides leverage, so it is a lever. But I wouldn't have known it. So well done to those of you who did. Right on. Coal, oil, and natural gas are examples of what types of fuel? Coal, oil, natural gas. Examples of what types of fuels? Yeah, it is. It's fossil fuels. You guys got it right. Wow, you're so fast. Look at you guys. I have to scroll back up to find the first one. Yep, fossil fuels. That's right. Good job. Next one. An animal. No, this is a dumb one. I'm not going to ask. I'll just tell you what the question was because it's so easy. An animal that eats both plants and animals is called what? Obviously omnivore, right? 10. Weight is a force. It's measured in newtons. Weight is a force. Is it measured in newtons, kilograms, or meters? That's kind of an easy one too. Weight is a force. Is it measured in newtons, kilograms, or meters? I would thought it was easy, but I would have gotten it wrong, so I don't know. The answer is newts. Yeah, that's right. Here's the answer. It's measured in newtons. All forces are measured in newtons, or N for short. Who knew? Because weight is a force, that's what it's measured in. So look at that, sciencey people. In medieval times, alchemy was a pseudo-scientific forerunner of what modern science? In medieval times, alchemy was a pseudo-scientific forerunner of what modern science? You guys will probably get this one. Yeah, it's chemistry. Chemistry. Who else? Chemistry. Just scroll back up. Chemistry. Good job. Chemistry. Okay. Decayed leaves, twigs, or animals make up a component. What component of soil? Decayed leaves, twigs, or animals make up what component of soil? Now, I thought this was something we eat, but I'm not eating that, so I don't know. You would think, oh my gosh, how do you even know it? That's exactly right. I thought it was a dip for carrots. No, it's hummus or humus. I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's exactly right. I would have thought mulch or compost as well. I wouldn't have gotten that one. It is hummus or humus. I don't know. Oh no, you're seeing the answer before the question? There must be some slow connections today. I'm sorry about that, Lori. I don't know how to fix it. Last sciencey question. Adults have, back to the teeth again. Adults have 32 permanent teeth. How many of them are molars? Adults have 32 permanent teeth. How many of them are molars? Maud says you should reboot. We have an 8. We have a 4. We have a couple of 4s. We have an SJ Lola with the right answer, who throws down 12. Indeed, there are 12 molars, 6 on each side of the mouth. So there you go. Next category, called That's My Invention. You guys ready for this? This German count invented an airship in 1901 that was used to bomb England in World War I, and then later for luxury passenger transport until it was abandoned after several famous disasters. This German count invented an airship in 1901 used to bomb England in World War I, and later was used for luxury passenger transport until it was abandoned after several famous disasters. Who is the count? And you can tell me the name of the thing as well. It was the Zeppelin. It was a Zeppelin, that's right. Do we know what his name is? It was a Zeppelin. You guys got that right. I will tell you that his name was Ferdinand von. So in this category, we're looking for the name of the inventor. This children's board game, oops, sorry, that's a different category. Well, I'll ask the question anyway. This children's board game includes 20 marbles gobbled up by 4 plastic animals named Henry, Harry, Homer, and a Happy. What game are we talking about here? I had this game when I was little. What game? It's featuring the hippos. Yeah, it's Hungry Hungry Hippos. That's right. Hungry Hippos, Hungry Hippos. You guys got it. That was a fun game, wasn't it? I saw it in miniature form and bought it for my kids. Awesome. Good job, you guys. Okay, back to the inventions. In 1862, he invented a hand-crank-powered machine gun with 10 barrels that could shoot up to 320 rounds a minute. Name the man and the machine. In 1862, he invented a hand-crank-powered machine gun with 10 barrels that could shoot up to 320 rounds a minute. Name the man and the machine. Yeah, it was the Gatling gun. It was Richard J. Gatling, and it was the Gatling gun. Gatling, yeah. I thought it was Gatlin as well, but it's Gatling. Good job. You guys got it. It's a Gatling gun. Yeah. Next one. A disposable razor blade, instead of the existing straight razor, was whose brainchild in 1895? He began its production in 1903. A disposable razor blade, instead of the existing straight razor, was whose brainchild in 1895? And he began its production in 1903. Yeah, it was Mr. Gillette. That's right. His name was King C. Gillette. And it was the Gillette razor. You guys got it. Who is first? I see Deidre with the Gillette. And, ooh, that was a good answer. Gillette. Bic. That was a good answer too. Gillette. Okay, good job. Next one. Are you ready for it? Who invented an internal combustion engine in 1892 that created fuel combustion via high pressure, thereby making spark plugs unnecessary? Who invented an internal combustion engine in 1892 that created fuel combustion via high pressure, making spark plugs unnecessary? No. Nope. It reminds me I need to shave. You know, I have a shaving question. This is just completely off the cuff, and I have to try to find information. You guys are going to think I'm nuts, but I have a real problem with mosquitoes. They are drawn to me like you would not believe. I must have, what is it, sweet blood or whatever it is. And I wondered if I stopped shaving my legs and they were all prickly, if that would make it less of a hospitable environment for mosquitoes to land. Because if they had a hard time with prickly legs, then maybe that I would be less attractive to them. I still don't know the answer to that. But the answer we are looking for, oh good, I'm glad I'm not alone, but I'm sorry you have to deal with it. The answer we're looking for with this question is Mr. Diesel. Rudolf Diesel invents the diesel engine, and it doesn't need spark plugs. Oh, Dragon's Marine got it. Yeah, right on. It's Diesel. Diesel, Rudolf Diesel. His name is indeed Rudolf. Yep, good job. Judy says, I'm guessing not. I don't know. Harry says, I'm thinking hairy legs, or John says, I think hairy legs would help. Mo says, I don't think it makes a difference. I don't know. I need to find it. We need to do a scientific study on that, right? Like if you let the hair on your legs grow really, really thick, which I mean, I don't like to have hair on my legs, but say one, having mosquitoes not bite me was maybe more important to me than whether my legs were hairy, would it make a difference? This is what I want to know. This is the study I want to do, except for I don't want to get bitten. Okay. Next one. I know. I told you you'd think I'm crazy. This Belgian invented the single reed woodwind instrument made famous by such artists as John Coltrane and Stan Getz. Who was he? This Belgian invented the single reed woodwind instrument made famous by artists like John Coltrane and Stan Getz. Who was he? Yeah, sax. Exactly. Pants would be even better. Then I have to wear pants in hot summer? Come on. Sax. His name was indeed Adolf Sax. Calvin, with doing my own study, shaved one leg and not the other as an experiment. Maybe I will, and I'll come back and tell you my findings. That's pretty funny. Oh, your husband is playing the sax right now. That's cool. You have good background music. Awesome. The next question, my friends. He invented a unique electronic musical instrument in 1964, an organ-style keyboard connected to a generator, a sequencer, and an oscillator. Who was this inventor? He invented a unique electronic musical instrument in 1964. It's an organ-style keyboard connected to a generator, a sequencer, and an oscillator. Who was this person? And I will tell you right now, I never would have known this. So, if you don't know it, a synthesizer. Oh my goodness. How do you guys know what a Moog is? You are crazy smart. Look at you people. Wow. Yeah, it's the Moog. His name is Robert Moog, as a matter of fact. I'm impressed. You guys have thrown down with the Moog, and I am truly impressed. Yes. Next question. And I'm sorry, I know we're going a little bit late, but I'm having fun with you guys today. Who created a whole line of containers in 1945 after he was introduced to a substance called polyethylene, the bane of our current existence? Thanks a lot, Mr. Tupper. That's exactly right. His name, Earl Tupper. Next question. To better maintain his 20,000 square foot ice skating rink, who invented a large mechanical device in 1949? Flo says, I went to a Human League concert and a keyboardist yelled to the sound person, I need more Moog. That's really funny. And yes, the answer is Zamboni, and his name was Frank Zamboni. All right, two more. This German physicist who studied under Ernest Rutherford invented what device that detects and measures nuclear radiation? What device measures nuclear radiation? Yeah, it's Geiger. His name was Hans Geiger. Last one. Who improved, but didn't invent, a common piece of science lab equipment in 1855 that mixes air and gas to provide a very hot flame for heating and sterilization? You guys will get this one really fast because you're crazy smart. I think Heather was using this the other day. Yes, Bunsen is, matter of fact, the Bunsen burner by Robert Bunsen. All right, you guys want a couple more questions because I did tease you with a couple of different categories. So I'll do maybe one or two from each. How about this one? First uncovered in 1798 from inside a mineral called pitchblende, which element is named after the planet discovered 8 years earlier? First uncovered in 1798 from inside a mineral called pitchblende, which element is named after the planet discovered 8 years earlier? The answer is not on the screen. Oh, the answer is on the screen. It is indeed uranium, number 92. That is correct. Well done. I love it. You guys are awesome. We didn't have that when I was your age. Here's from this category. In 1951, 200 people paid $3 a year for the privilege of having what kind of paper in their wallet? In 1951, 200 people paid $3 a year for the privilege of having what kind of paper, plastic came later, in their wallet? It was a credit card. It was a credit card. It was made of paper before it was made of plastic. Yep. Good job. Well done. Heather got it. Calvin got it. It was a credit card. All right, next one. What typist aid did Monkey Michael Nesmith's mother create in 1951 and sell to the Gillette Corporation for $47.5 million in 1979? It's a typist aid. Michael Nesmith, one of the Monkeys' mom, created it in 1951 and sold it to Gillette for $47.5 million in 1979. Yes, it was liquid paper, whiteout, absolutely. You imagine being the person that came up with that? Awesome. Whiteout, liquid paper, that's exactly right. What did Bill Richards, owner of a California surf shop, sell in 1958 as a pastime for surfers when the surf was flat? What did Bill Richards, the owner of a California surf shop, sell in 1958 as a pastime for surfers when the surf was flat? I can see. You can see a lot of answers here. It was not a Frisbee, nor was it a boogie board, nor was it pizza, but it was indeed Flo. Gets it right. Where'd Flo go? I lost him. The skateboard. Yeah. Flo got it. Linda got it. Yeah, he sold a skateboard. And then it took off like a rocket. What popular pastime invented by Willie Higginbotham in 1958? We all know Willie Higginbotham, correct? Required relatively quick reflexes and an oscilloscope. Quick reflexes and an oscilloscope. The first what? I can tell you I get asked to play this 50 times a day. And the answer is, go read a book. Quick reflexes and an oscilloscope. Invented by Willie Higginbotham in 1958. Yep, it's the video game. You got it. And I know we're really over time, but I'll give you one more from Games People Play. Don't apologize. If you don't know this 1934 Parker Brothers strategy and revenge game, it's not very nice because it allows players to send a competitor's piece right back to the start. The answer is... Yep, it's Sorry. You got it. All right, one more game question. And it is, what is the American version of the Royal Game of India, where the goal is to get all 4 colored pawns to the center square? What is the American version of the Royal Game of India, where the goal is to get all 4 colored pawns to the center square? See if you got Parcheesi. You guys got it. Parcheesi. You're so fast. It takes you less time to type it and send it than it does for me to look it up in the index on the back of the book. Parcheesi is correct. Awesome. Well, I know we're way, way, way out of time. I have so many more questions to ask you. They'll have to keep until next week. Next week, maybe I'll do more from the periodic table of the elements. So that was kind of fun. There are more questions I thought that were fun on that page. I wish it could too. Maybe we'll, you know what would be cool is to have a trivia night. Wouldn't that be fun? To have a trivia night, like one of these things that Mark Thompson does with the meetups, but to do it do it where we can actually talk to each other instead of relying on typing it really fast. We could speak it, and so then everyone has more of a chance rather than just a quick internet connection. That would be fun. Maybe we should do that. I love it. I love it too. Thank you, SJ Lola. So fun to play with you guys today. Tomorrow, a great show on the Nikki Maduro show. We're going to talk IVF because yesterday, pardon me, there was a vote done by the Southern Baptists. And I know it's not a surprise that they've decided that IVF is not godly. And Nikki and I will talk about that. It's Friday on the Mark Thompson Show, which means Friday Fabulous Florida. Michael Shore will stop by and Michael Snyder. And then here on the After Party Live, we get Tim Sika with movies. So I hope to see you tomorrow. It's going to be really fun. Until then, oh, looks like I've frozen in time there. Until then, make it a really good afternoon, and I will see you right back on YouTube tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody. For now, bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Such a great idea, Heather. I love it.